Good afternoon, lovelies. How are you all today? I hope you're well. We're in the kitchen, yay! On a really grey, drizzly day. It looks like our summer is finally over. But actually, I don't mind these kind of days because there's always stuff to be doing indoors. And if it was a gorgeous day, I'd want to abandon everything indoors and just go and play in the garden for the day. So, yay, time to experiment in the kitchen. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous about this today. You saw me in the last video harvesting some of my lovely, just get some to show you, Achocha. Beautiful shapes. And I was saying in that video how I'm not the best when it comes to, I don't know, is it trying new things or experimenting? Because, I mean, I do experiment. I was just mentioning the other day that fennel root soup I made, which I had no idea how it's going to turn out, and actually it turned out really, really beautifully. I think I was braver to try that because someone else had said to me, you can eat the roots. Now with the Achocha, I know I can eat them, but I just haven't met anyone or spoken to anyone who has. I haven't seen any recipes for them online, so I don't know, for instance, when to harvest them. I don't know what sort of size they should be at. I have no idea what to expect in taste. And what I thought I'd do today, by the seat of my pants, normally when I do a cooking video with you, it will be something that I've done over and over again in the past. It's a favourite meal that I do, so I share that with you. Or if I'm trying something new, I may try it one weekend and think, oh yeah, that was really nice. And then the following weekend, until I'm nervous, I'll make it again and video myself while I'm doing it. In this case, we're just going to get stuck in and you are going to see my reaction as soon as I'm having it. Oh my goodness, I really don't know. So, I was thinking what on earth to make with them, because I'd seen online that some people stuff them, but frankly, I mean, that's too tiny to stuff, isn't it? So I was thinking, what on earth can I do with them? And they're basically a gourd, so they're related to somewhere between sort of cucumbers and squash. I mean, it's a massive family of plants. So I thought, I know, I'll make a curry with them, because then also the curry can disguise the taste if they're really, really, really rank. Ideally, I suppose, when trying a new vegetable, one should try it au naturel on its own to get a good idea of how it tastes, but I'm just not feeling that brave today. So I'm going to cook them into a curry. Now also, the other day I was having a bit of a sort out of my little pantry cupboard, which I don't use very much. I've got a few tins in there. So I was having a look through and I have a tin of tomatoes in there, which Lord knows when I bought them, but they've gone out of date. Can you imagine it? A tin in the cupboard that's actually gone out of date. For the last 4 years, I can't remember now whether it's 4 years or 5 years that I haven't needed to buy tomatoes. Fabulous. But I also found, right at the back, a tin of chickpeas, which expires, I think, towards the end of this year, so I thought, oh, I'll use those too. Here they are, all gorgeous chickpeas. Oh, I could just eat them straight out of the tin. Now, because I've got no idea how this recipe is going to turn out, I don't mind using the chickpeas because, like I said, they're going to go out of date. But I'm just going to use half the tin. I've reserved half the tin. And if this recipe is really disgusting, I will simply, that other half tin, I'll turn it into a bean salad for my supper tonight instead of this. If this works and tastes nice, what I'll do is I'll just put it all back on the stove. I'll add a few more ingredients and chop those chickpeas in. But the bottom line is, exactly as I did with the fennel root soup. If I'm trying something completely new, no known recipe in the universe, that sort of thing, if it's a total experiment and I'm really not sure whether it's going to be something I'm going to enjoy, I keep the ingredients to a minimum. Normally I would cook in terms of, I try and make 4 portions in one go, so I'll have one now, one in a couple of days, and 2 for the freezer as ready meals. But like I say, if this is a disaster, I don't want to have wasted a ton of my other ingredients making it. So I'm going to make this it's probably going to be 2 portions. I might try and just do 1 portion. Anyway, let me show you the ingredients. Oy vey. So as usual with me, it's all relatively simple stuff. So I've got my half tin of chickpeas. I've got an onion. I've chosen a really quite small ones in my hand there. That's one of my small ones. Like I say, I don't want to go overboard with this. I'll put a couple of cloves of garlic in. There's garden mud on them still. Yeah, a couple of cloves of garlic. I need a splash of oil. I've made up that's about 300 mils of stock. Now the tomatoes, this is yesterday's pick, and I was just getting them ready to freeze, so just getting their skins off. And I think what I'll do is I'll just use about a cup or so of tomatoes, and then while this is all simmering, the rest of these will get blitzed down and squished into the freezer somewhere. A little bit of curry powder. This is a mild curry powder. I love spices, but I don't like really hot food. So I love the taste of spice, I love the warmth of them, but I don't like it when it blows the roof of my mouth off. This is actually a ready-made mix that I bought from my local Turkish supermarket, Turkish of all places. If this recipe works out nicely, what I would experiment with in future is, instead of just using this pre-mixed curry mix, it's just to pick and choose between my sort of individual spices and see what mix I can come up with. And then these little things. So you can see, proportion wise, I reckon by the time these are chopped up, it'll be a big handful. It'll be similar sort of quantities of the Achocha and chickpeas and tomatoes. Okay, let's get chopping. I will try to show you this really close up as well, so as I cut into them, you will see for the first time exactly what I'm seeing for the first time. So I've got my onions and garlic chopped ready to go, but here we go with the start of the show. I'm going to do these 2 now in front of you just to see if there's any difference. This is obviously more mature than this one, which is still quite green. Okay, let's see if there's any difference. So, like I say, I've no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going to cut the end off there where it was attached. Maybe cut that very end point off because it looks quite tough. Yeah, let's have those bits off. Oh my goodness, look at the seeds in there. Wow, tons of seeds. And then this one, can't see any seeds in there yet, but let's get in there. It's amazing, actually. That looks like so many seeds. I'm just going to cut it lengthways, I think, to... Wow. Wow, how beautiful. Look at that. Look how the seeds are hanging in there. You know, when I first got the seeds, I was actually given seeds, but I've been given seeds by 2 different lots of people now, but I did look at them online and they're really expensive. It's another one of those things where you think, wow, so many seeds in a plant, and you think how many fruits there are on each plant. Why do they have to be so expensive? Isn't that a thing of beauty? How delicately they're just hanging on that central sort of stalk bit. well, I'll obviously set those aside to dry and save. So I think what I'll do, oh, hang on a second, how is the smell? Hang on, let's move the onion out of the way because it's a bit close. It smells quite cucumbery, actually. Yeah, actually, you know what? It smells somewhere between cucumber and squash. So I think, I don't know, I think I'm just going to chunk these into little bite-sized pieces. I wonder how tough that. So this is the older one, and I can feel it's a bit tougher. Yeah, I think that's going to need quite a simmer. Right, okay, so let's go into this much younger, immature fruit. Just on one side so I can peel it open. Okay, so look, you can see the seeds have formed much less so than in the one that was more mature. So I think for these it's going to be a case of, let's scrape them out. Whoopla! A bit fiddly. Hang on a sec, let's just scrape that one out. So what's interesting in this much younger one, I don't know if you can make that out, but there seems to be much more sort of flesh on the inside. Again, it's got a sort of cucumbery, dare I say it, green smell to it. Look, really, really tiny, hardly formed seeds in there. Let's have that out. So I think obviously just from this, the more mature fruit, it's obviously easier to extract all these seeds. Gosh, this is going to be fiddly preparing all of these. So the more mature one is going to be easier to extract all the seeds, but the younger one, let me see if I can show you like this. Does that show up? Yeah, you can see the younger one is this is the younger one, much more fleshy. Right, okay, well I need to chop through all the rest of them before we start cooking. Right then, onions and garlic are in. There's a bit of oil in there, but I've also added quite a drop of water because when I put the lid back on, I'm going to try and create a steaming effect as well, because here comes the Achocha. Some bits of it feel really quite tough, those more mature ones. I have to say, at this stage, the more mature ones that were easy to get the seeds out of don't look very appetising. They look a little bit cardboardy. The much younger ones, there's much more flesh on them, they do look more appetising. But my goodness, what a fiddle to get those seeds out. I mean, that's taken me, 10 minutes just to get a handful prepped for this. So, I don't want to come to any conclusions until I've eaten it, but I'm going to come to a couple along the way, it's inevitable. At this stage, I would say, my goodness, that's too much faff. Okay, I'm just going to give it a teaspoon, yeah, that'll do, a teaspoon of the mixed curry powder, so that can all start really getting the flavours melding. So I think what I'll do now, what shall I do next? Yeah, I think I'm just going to pop the lid back on and let that all sort of steam and sweat for 10 minutes or so before adding my next ingredients. Okay, you'd better soften up in there, you Achocha, you better soften up. They really do look quite tough. We'll see. Right, well, it's had 10 minutes of just sort of sweating, steaming, part frying, and I have to say it smells gorgeous. But that's probably everything to do with the curry powder. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and look at the same time to see, just get an idea. It looks like some of those topper bits have softened down in there. Okay, so let's whack in the tomatoes. I've taken about a cup of those tomatoes. So these are just skinned earlier because I was getting ready to put them for the freezer. Oh, lovely colour. Actually, just let me show you the colour of that for now. I know it's a really dull day and it's hard to see anything in this light, isn't it? But, oh, can I show it to you? Beautiful, beautiful colours. Yum, yum, yum. So you're going to get seasick with me moving you around like that, aren't you? Yes, apologising for the light because it really is quite a dull, torrid day. And then that's the 300 mils of stock going in. It may be that I need to give it a bit more stock. We'll see. So I'm just going to let that all bubble away for 20 minutes or so. I might check on it before 20 minutes. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's just kind of guesswork, and you go a little bit on previous experience. Obviously I have no experience with Achocha, but just going on previous experience of other veggies of a similar texture. So I'm going to give it 20 minutes, see how it is after that, and at that stage I would add the chickpeas. I'm not going to, excuse me, I'm not going to add the chickpeas now because they're already cooked and I want them to retain a bit of bite. I don't want them to kind of break down and mush up in there. So I'll add those at the last minute and just give them time to warm through. Oh, goodness, I'm getting a bit excited about this now. Right, lid on, Vivi. 20 minutes, let's come back. Okay, so it's had 25 minutes to simmer. All those tomatoes have broken down beautifully. I think, oh dear, I think I've used a little bit too much liquid. I think probably the tomatoes would have been enough liquid themselves. It's looking more like a soup at the moment. However, I don't think I'm going to do this with the first portion I try, but obviously with curry I would normally have rice, and I love when I've got some good juicy sauce to go with my rice. So I've turned the heater off. I'm just going to add these chickpeas now, and like I said, because they're already cooked, they just need to warm through. Now, what I wasn't thinking about when I was thinking about doing this as a dish is just how small and lacking in flesh the Achocha would be. So, for example, one of my favourite curries is squash and chickpea curry, which I make pretty much exactly the same way. But of course, you've got all that lovely chunky squash in there too. So it does look a bit thin and a bit meagre, but I think just in this circumstance of giving it a first try out, that's fine. So I'm just going to pop the lid back on. I'm going to leave it for about 5 minutes, let those chickpeas thoroughly warm through, and then we'll have a taste test. Gosh, it's getting darker by the minute. We are due some storms today. If there's a massive clap of thunder in a minute and I jump out of my skin, well, never mind. Right. Let's give this a go. Oh, Vivi, what have you done? Yeah, at the moment, it's definitely, especially without rice, it's definitely looking more like soup than curry. So note to self, I'm not even going to probably tip it up to show you, but yeah, note to self, next time, no stock. How brave. I'm just going to go fishing for some Achocha. I'm going to try and just, so this first mouthful is obviously the sauce, the tomatoey sauce, and Achocha, that's it. Give it a fluff. If I keel over, can someone tell my mum? Oh my gosh. Okay, so first things first, I was worried about the texture. Now, I don't know if that was one of the younger bits I got, but that has gone so soft, really almost sort of disintegrating soft. Taste-wise, that's why it's nice to have the chickpeas, a bit of bite. Okay, so obviously I can taste the tomatoes. It's incredibly sweet, this dish, actually. You can taste the tomatoes. I've got that lovely warmth of the curry spices coming through, and there's definitely something else there. And I would say, if I was served this, I've got no idea what it is, but it's lovely. However, I happen to know that it's Achocha. I'm just going to have, let's see if I can just fish out some more of just the Achocha. Okay, so I'm going to try and show it to you as well. Excuse fingers. Oh, can you see? So it's retained its colour. I can't put my finger on it. It is definitely somewhere between squash and cucumber. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's really nice. And I think, excuse me, this is always the problem, isn't it? By the time I've got a cooking video made, I'm always Hank Marvin. Okay, so what I'm going to say is, I think with all that stock that I added, as it is now, it's a lovely soup. If I had it on a load of rice, then yes, it would feel like curry. I could, at this stage, I could, with all the chickpeas in as well, I could blitz it, and then I get a really thick, beautiful, creamy soup. Gorgeous, it is so good. It's incredibly sweet. I can't get over the sweetness. Obviously the fresh tomatoes, because they were picked, actually the Achocha and the tomatoes were picked yesterday, so it's all really fresh, but there's a really lovely sweetness. So yeah, as a soup as it is, or on rice, it would then start to feel like a curry. Blitzed to make a really lovely, thick, creamy soup. I think because the way the Achocha has cooked down and gone really quite soft, as a curry, I would like another ingredient in there that's still got some bite. So I think it would be really lovely with either some winter squash, but probably added a bit later so it doesn't mush down while it's simmering, so it still has that bit of bite, or some sweet potato. I think that would be beautiful in here. Yeah, I'm happy with that. The bottom line is, excuse me, need my serviette. Oh God, it's really good. Is it worth the is it worth the faff and the fannying to get the Achochas, get the seeds out? Is it, as a vegetable to use, is it enough on its own? I would say the answer to those two questions is no, it's not enough as a veg on its own. It definitely needs some other stuff with it, just in terms of bulk. You know, that was a handful of Achocha you saw me use. This is going to be, it looks like 2 portions, but it's had quite a lot of other stuff added. So I think as a standalone veg, you are going to need to get a bit creative and have other stuff with it just to bulk it up. I actually don't know anything about the vitamin and the sort of nutritional qualities of them. I should look that up. I'm going to guess it's good for vitamin C, being the colour it was. So the second thing is it worth the faff of getting the seeds out? I don't know. The bottom line is, if I was making this again and I didn't have any Achocha, would it really miss it? Probably not, in all honesty. However, that little space on the end of my deck where I've got the fence, it's beautiful to have something growing over that each year rather than just look at bare wood. So I'm definitely going to be growing it again, if for no other reason than how beautiful a plant it is on the back of the deck. And if it's giving me fruits, well, do you know what, I might as well jolly well get them harvested and just chuck them in things, because it's, like I said, I can't quite put my finger on the taste, but it's a lovely taste. And I think as an addition to soups, stews, curries, whatever during the winter, actually I think it would work quite nicely in chilli. It's a really, really lovely addition. I will do some research before I next see you, if I can, to find out about the nutritional benefits of Achocha, because that's the other thing. If it's a really, really beneficial plant to eat, then yes, it's going to make it all the more worth the kitchen faff. So, right, I need to shut up, I need to get rid of all of you, excuse me, so I can stick my face in the bowl and just, it is really, really good, even though I say it myself. But there we go. So, I hope you enjoyed coming along for the experiment today. I didn't kill myself. Yay, mummy, I didn't kill myself. Look, have a go with it. If you've grown some, have a go. Just get inventive in the kitchen. Don't be a chicken like me and use curry powder. Maybe try something without too much flavouring so you get more of an idea of the flavouring. If you've got ideas for recipes, or if you've used it before in different recipes, let us know, because I'm sure, bearing in mind how little space the plant takes up in the garden, I'm sure it's something that a lot of people will be interested in growing. So, just goes to show, doesn't it? You never quite know until you have a go. So, on that note, I shall bid you all a very fond cheerio until next time. And in the meantime, just have fun having a go. See you soon.